So if you've been here before, and odds are, I'm a small channel, so you probably haven't. I actually started with an iPad Pro from 2021, that M1 iPad Pro. Years ago when I first started the channel, trying to do some light editing and also using it for graduate school, and really didn't care to dabble with iPads after that because a lot of them kind of just felt the same. Then I tried out the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra, and that was a mind-blowing, amazing experience that was immersive and also accentuated my lifestyle in a large variety of different ways that my iPad just wasn't quite cutting it. The ecosystem I work in is a little bit weird because my daily driver is either a Galaxy Fold 5, the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but I also use a MacBook every single day for my clinical work as a therapist, but also for all the editing that I do here on the channel. I was a little bit skeptical, but actually using these two and running them through their paces over these last few days, there are actually some instances where I am impressed with, and there are some thoughts that I have in terms of like, if you should actually buy these as opposed to another option. But if you're new here, my name is Dave, I do tech, and the idea here today is to break these two things down in a very concise way so that you can know if they're going to accentuate your lifestyle in the ways that you need. So I can confidently say that without a doubt, the Magic Keyboard is still to this day one of the probably hands down the best keyboard accessory I personally have ever used. Honestly, even better than Samsung's offerings over on the Galaxy Tab series, even though I prefer those tablets as a whole for accentuating my lifestyle in a whole bunch of different ways. The Magic Keyboard here is an exceptional accessory. That $350 price range though is still very steep. I think it's still a bit overpriced personally, but there's nothing else quite like it on the market and people are still buying it, so they're gonna keep on selling it. So my Tab S9 Ultra review video, I talked about how I'm currently engaged and my fiance Marie and I are currently looking at different homes. She's been sending me wedding venues and being able to open Google Sheets, Google Docs, and jot down different notes with the S Pen on that. And the range of flexibility, different options that you have when multitasking are immensely helpful on a day-to-day basis and accentuating my lifestyle. Stage Manager is really nice and definitely, I think, an improvement over the multitasking from before. It's just not quite up to par for me and my personal usage, the way I can multitask on, say, like my Galaxy Fold or the Galaxy Tab series. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys are typically more on the Apple side of things, or if maybe you do have a Samsung Galaxy tablet and you kind of are wondering if this is something that's going to fit for you. Hearing you guys' viewpoints on what you're using, your perspectives, honestly does help me as a reviewer. There have been a lot of times in the comment section where you guys mention using something in a certain way that I honestly hadn't thought about, and then I use it that way and I go, huh, that actually would be pretty helpful to put in a review. So help me help you guys. The assumption is going to be that the M4 iPad Pro plays games perfectly, right? And correct, it does play absolutely everything perfectly, but surprisingly, the M2 iPad Air that costs significantly less also plays things at maximum everything, right? So for example, I'm a huge fan of Honkai Star Rail, not sponsored, but I play that game a ton in my off time. I'm able to max out the graphics and the frame rate settings and everything runs perfectly. And the same is true for like say Punching Gray Raven and other games that I enjoy playing in my off time. But this is a really capable gaming experience for something that's going to be largely pretty affordable for a solid number of people. Because this is a smaller form factor, it's more comfortable to hold than say the iPad Pro, right? Honestly, even more comfortable than my Tab S9 Ultra. That screen is massive and huge, and even though it's light and thin, your hands not having to be so far apart is a significant factor in the comfort, and the screen looks great and the speakers are awesome too. Battery life. Very simply, it's really good on both of these devices. Tablets are one of those things that you're not using all day, every single day, all of the time. And so by virtue, you're using the battery less, but Apple has done a really good job optimizing the battery experience on these. And so you're getting several days worth of usage without having to worry about a charge, which is really nice. Now, summer, at least here in the States, is basically here. And there are a lot of times when I just flat out don't want to be inside, when I can also do my productivity things outside. And so when looking at these two, obviously, of course, the M4 iPad Pro is more easily viewable in direct sunlight situations. Honestly, on average, in most use cases where I'm bringing the M2 Air outside, I can see everything that I need to see on the screen pretty darn comfortably. And there have been maybe a few times, a few exceptions where the sun was like directly overhead at its peak height in the sky and it's just like blasting down, that it really became harder to see things. But on average, taking this outside has been a good viewing experience also. I picked up the Apple Pencil Pro for you guys just to see how it is. I have to say that the squeeze feature, the double tap feature are really helpful in terms of accessibility. Now, on the iPad Pro, I did not opt for the nearly $2,000 version with the nano screen. It's going to quote unquote feel more paper-like. I'm not sponsored by them. I actually didn't reach out in time to them in order to get a sponsorship in place. So there's no ad here, but I have had a paper-like screen protector on my M1 iPad Pro from 2020 when I very first got it. It's still on my iPad to this day. It's a great product. And by by far that's going to be a much more cost-effective solution than shelling out several $100s just to get that implemented into your screen. So if you're wondering my opinion on that, I think you should just go with a screen protector that sort of has that texturing, be it paper-like or not. But as a whole, the pencil, the drawing, the writing, the doodling experience is helpful for me in my work as a clinical therapist, right? Being able to jot down notes for like diagnosis of the clients that I'm working with, sort of conceptualizing treatment plans and like the best ways to go forward, jotting down notes. But as a whole, I can definitely say that the drawing and writing experience with the Apple Pencil is great on the Air and the Pro as well. Now, every time that I pick up the iPad Air, I do find myself missing the Face ID. The Tab S9 Ultra, it's not Face ID, but it has face recognition. My dad and I are told we look alike all of the time, but that's able to discern not only between my dad and I, but also able to discern between my face and a picture of my face, which is awesome. Having it on my iPhone 15 Pro Max, having it on my old iPad Pro, and now this iPad Pro, Face ID is awesome. I'm a huge fan of that, but the Touch ID on the iPad Air works perfectly, literally like 100% of the time in my experience, so kind of hard to complain there. Additionally, having the cameras in landscape mode makes a big difference for FaceTiming and Zoom calls. That's a huge welcome addition, especially over my older iPad Pro. 120 Hz display versus 60 Hz display. Some people are going to tell you that you can't notice the difference, that it doesn't make a difference. I think that's being disingenuous. You've used 120 Hz displays before. The difference is night and day, especially for someone like myself that has owned an iPad Pro for a really long time. That being said, there's a large subset of people that are not going to notice, right? That might be mom, dad, a sibling, that might be your aunt or uncle, a grandparent, who you give them an iPad Air, and they're just going to know that the software is really smooth and that it does everything that they need it to do. And so for a lot of people, this is going to be the right choice anyway, even though 120 Hz is a superior display experience in my personal opinion. And I think that's basically everything from like a primary Android user that has a MacBook that has used an M1 iPad Pro from 2021 for a long time. And I think overall, these are really good. If you're looking to max out your M4 iPad Pro and get the maximum everything, you're spending near that $2,000 mark. Personally, I think you're better off spending that money on a MacBook. My M1 MacBook Pro has done literally everything for me here on the channel for a really long time, and it hasn't skipped a beat. It's still going just as strong as it was since I got it. And spending that much on something that in a lot of cases really only kind of gets you like halfway or like 70% of where you need to go, although it can be a really nice tool, I don't know if I want to spend almost $2,000 on something that is only getting me just about there. I'd want to spend that money on something that's going to get me all the way there like my MacBook does. And if you're looking for an iPad for like a sibling or something, the base iPads are really good, but honestly the Air is really impressive in a lot of different ways, and I can definitely say that I would recommend this product to a lot more people. This one is definitely the more accessible one. Get a lot of high fidelity gaming. For most people, the 60 Hz isn't going to make a big difference unless you're really keyed in on those kinds of features, right? Mom, dad, a sibling that are just looking for a tablet to do like a lot of stuff with. This basically covers everything. But definitely for me, if I'm looking for a tablet that's going to accentuate my lifestyle and all of the different range of things that I needed to do on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, for me, it's definitely going to be like the Galaxy Tab S9, even the S8. They just do more. But thank you guys so much again for stopping by and hanging out. I wish you a fantastic remainder of your day, afternoon, or night, depending on the time it is you are watching this. And as always, peace, love, and adios. Bye guys, and have a great day.